Hello, cosmic greetings, beloved lovers of life, love, light, and liberation. I am your host, Naraya, today, and this is the Turning of the Ages Mystery School Seed People Spotlight, where I introduce you to some of the diverse and most amazing people who are close to our TOTAMS clan and close to our hearts. And today, I'm honored to have here with me Cristina Moreira calling in from Portugal. Welcome, 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 Cristina.
Thank you, Naraya. It's
It is
really a
so lovely
pleasure.
to see you. So great to have you on. I really feel honored and privileged, and I look forward to this conversation. I already see the Egyptian paraphernalia in the background there. So this is going to be amazing to share also with what you're doing in the near future. And for now, I just would like to actually, we only met very briefly in Kalanish earlier this year, and I didn't know much about you and still don't know much about you, which is lovely. And I like to inquire into people's experiences and life stories. So I did have a little sneak peek on your website, not much. But I found, lots of very interesting information, and obviously I will link to your website in the description of this YouTube video. But I want to read just this tiny paragraph from the About You page, and maybe we can just take it from there. And just for our viewers, I welcome you. I even forgot because I'm so excited here to be with Cristina. But I hope this inspires you as well to maybe want to learn more about Cristina and the work she is doing. So on her website, I have to summarize a little bit here. It says, since a spontaneous spiritual awakening in India at the age of 26, my life became a long-term process of deepening my self-knowledge, realizing the meaning of life and the understanding of human nature through the experience of my own life, living in 3 different continents and being integrated in different cultures, while at the same time continuously studying and gathering information from different mystery schools. And so I am just delighted that the Turning of the Ages Mystery School has made it for some reason, in some way, into the canon of your mystery schools that you're learning from, Cristina. So maybe we can start off by inviting you to just really share a little bit how you got in touch with the school, how long you've been with the school. I do know and want people to know that you have been for many years an astrologer in your own right. So the Turning of the Ages astrology is something that you've taken on board on top of or as part of everything you've already been doing. And it's an honor, especially if someone has dived into other paradigms before. Yes, let us know more about all of this, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Naraya, for welcoming me and for this incredible introduction. It's really an honor to be here. And yes, I will share a bit about my path. So I graduated in tourism and cultural heritage, and I applied for a scholarship, which I was granted. So I went to Goa when I was very young. I was 26, and I went there to do research in the Goan cultural heritage. And I had the massive spiritual awakening. I had a very scientific mind and background until then, because before I had been studying sciences, and I even made it to the College of Engineering, but then I gave up because I felt it was not for me and I really wanted to travel the world. So I went to Goa, India, and I had an incredible experience that I can trace back to a very particular point. I was on a little boat with some friends I had met there, fisherman's boat, and we went out to the ocean to see the dolphins.
Mm.
And we found this massive group of dolphins. There were at least 20 dolphins, and they came and surrounded us. and they started to swim in circle around the boat. And dolphins are incredible creatures. And some major activation happened there. I went into a state of bliss, and they were just swimming in circle, like in synchronized motion, like, and we were in complete silence, and I felt my channels opening, and my life changed after that point. So yes, they initiated me, and
Mm.
I have this deep connection with those beings, and my life changed after that. So I ended up staying in India for a really long time. I lived there for 10 years. My
What? Okay, that's amazing.
Yes, I would come to Portugal every summer, but my base would be there, and my daughter was born there. Um, I had a water birth with a German practitioner, a holistic midwife practitioner. She had a holistic birthing place in Goa. So, yeah, she was born in the water like the dolphins. And yes, and I ended up separating from her father when she was 1 year old. So I brought her up as a single parent. So yes, we lived in Goa for a really long time. Then we also lived in Costa Rica for 2 years and in California for some months. And before I had her, I have already lived for several months in Morocco, in Canada, in Brazil. Yes, and of course Portugal, which is my homeland. So yeah, I've been all around, and my daughter traveled a lot with me.
Mm.
And yeah, and we relocated back to Portugal in 2014. So my connection with the school, I mean, from a very young age, I had been attracted to astrology. I was very curious. And in 2010, I met an astrologer from the US. He had come to do a presentation at the Boom Festival in Portugal, Visionary Festival. And I was so fascinated with his sharings. And then I went to talk with him after his talk. And he was the first person that mentioned shamanic astrology to me. At that time, I decided to become a certified astrologer. So I started my process of certification. At the time, I started with another school, and then in 2012, I decided to join the Shamanic Astrology Mystery School. I became a member. So it's been 12 years since I've been a member of the school. I attended many, many webinars and many, many members' monthly calls all over the years. And it was such a paradigm shift for me. I really, really feel resonance with the shamanic astrology paradigm. I'd also studied shamanism one-on-one.
Mm.
So the three worlds approach meant a lot to me and makes a lot of sense. But also this like actualization of the archetypes. There's a core essence into the archetypes that prevails, but this actualization that is heart-centered and non-judgmental, I feel deep resonance with it. So I'm totally aligned with this paradigm. And I'm truly, truly happy that after 12 years of connection with the school, I'm going to be graduating and be also a TOTAMS certified astrologer.
Mm.
So it's really an honor to be able to
And
add that.
I believe by the time this episode actually airs, you will already have certified. That's kind of in the same date range, and I'm really looking forward to that ceremony as well. And also, after such a long time, I don't believe that the certificate is what matters, but because you've had all this experience already, but it enables us then also to collaborate with you in different ways, then we could collaborate, if you were not certified in this particular paradigm. And that's what I'm, as the media person, really looking forward to then help to put out all this content and events that you are going to be creating very soon, and we'll get to that in a moment. So, but I want to really spill the beans here on one amazing development that's already in the making, particularly for our European audiences, because you have partnered up with Sylviane, who is producing so much content for us. Sylviane volunteered to do an extra additional monthly members call for European time zones. So I am currently in European time zones. So this is going to be so exciting for me, and you will be the collaborator on that, Cristina. So I'm really looking forward to those ones. And I've been lobbying for a long time to get more events out to our really growing European audiences and membership people. So I'm really, really happy about that. And thank you already in advance for, volunteering for that. That's great.
Well, welcome. It will be a pleasure. I already met Sylviane in the call. We had so much fun, so much sharing. Our birth charts are actually
Mm.
very similar, and it's going really to be a great pleasure to hold the European calls, members call with her. I can't wait for that. Yes, so many things are happening, and it's really, really an honor to be here.
Mm.
I'm the way this paradigm has opened up and changed my perspective, not just with astrology, but with life in general, has been really major, major. So I'm truly grateful also to be able to contribute so that more people can get to know about it.
Oh, that's lovely. There's always the question that I have in every one of these conversations I do, whether there's any part of the teachings or the paradigm that kind of impacted you most strongly, or that you feel has the greatest impact to the clients you work with. I mean, you already mentioned kind of the archetypes, which is also the understanding, the in-depth understanding of the archetypes and how that is all being put together within the turning of the ages. The TOTAMS or shamanic astrology paradigm is also, for me, is very important, because even just with that, one can relay so much understanding of themselves to others, and for me, obviously, and maybe for all of us, to understanding ourselves in the first place, and our skill sets and our pitfalls, and hopefully navigate life a little bit more successfully than without that understanding. But is there anything in particular that is more important, maybe, or more impactful to you than other parts of the teachings?
Yes, definitely. So besides the actualization of the archetypes into a heart-centered, non-judgmental approach, and the three worlds initiatory processes that the planets work with us, whether it's on our birth charts or on by transits. Well, the direct connection with the night sky, bringing
Mm.
in the remerging of astronomy and astrology, that's an understanding about celestial mechanics that's been really, really key point for me, and the way I love sharing about it with anyone that is curious and wants to know about it. And also the inner sacred marriage process.
Mhm.
So the balancing and the coming together of the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine principles. That's also a very important key point for me and for my clients. And yeah, I mean, this turning of the ages theme is so important.
Mm.
Understanding the alignments that are taking place, the convergence of the timelines, and reconnecting with our essence, with our soul's path, and the way the storyline is put together according to the script that we use in shamanic astrology. It just makes it so much more simple for people to understand their path, their soul's path. So yes, all of that and more.
Yeah, no, I can
Also,
only totally agree. I mean, you are summarizing it beautifully. And here in this intentional community where I'm calling from in the mountains of Spain, there's lots and lots of young people around here, volunteers who come and go, and also a core team. And they're also very much interested into getting more information. So I've been having consultations here almost every day. And they're all like literally, and I'm new to this, especially compared to you. Very new, very green behind my ears. But the way everyone really derives so much value from these insights is just absolutely fabulous, and for me, I love working with young people. So to see, when people who are 25, 30, or just in their early 30s, when they get that understanding already at that age, let's say, where I always say, a spiritual illiterate, completely blank on anything. I think, wow, what a potential they can still unfold on their life's journey when they have that understanding so early in life. That's absolutely amazing. Yeah, thank you. And then obviously the main reason why I have particularly invited you onto this episode for this month also is that you are organizing an incredible trip to Egypt that is coming up very soon, and we have that on the TOTAMS calendar on our website as well. So we're collaborating with that, and I really want to hear more about that. So I mean, I've obviously read the itinerary already, but then also tried not to read it too in depth, so I could really still be curious to listen to you.
sure. So one of the things that I also love, and that is also connecting with the school, is connecting with ancient sacred sites and the direct connection between land and sky and the alignments, and knowing that the ancients were so keen on tracking what's going on in the sky, so the turning of the seasons and aligning our lives with the natural time. So I've been guiding private sacred journeys in Portugal since 2017 with small groups. And now this big portal to Egypt and the land of alchemy is open. So yes, I'm taking a group to Egypt in February 2025, and we still have spots available. And at the same time, there are these major revelations that are coming from there. So I found out recently that in 2019, the constellations of the zodiac were found engraved on the walls of the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramids, and no one had seen them before. And suddenly they became visible. So the person behind these findings is a researcher. His name is Robert Edward Grant, and he started by finding the Alpha Omega symbols in the sarcophagus in the King's Chamber, and then his wife found all the constellations of the zodiac and more, because in ancient Egypt they would use the decans of astrology. So there are 48 constellations that are engraved on the walls of the King's Chamber, and no one had ever been able to see them before. Even the local Egyptologists, they were stunned with these findings. And they mark the processional cycle and the turning of the ages. So this is a major revelation that our generation was presented with. I mean, we are at the turning of the ages, and suddenly the markings of the processional cycle become visible in the pyramid. So the pyramid and the Giza plateau they work as a marker for the passage of time. And suddenly this information became even more pertinent and to be revealed for the collective consciousness. So yes, this trip to Egypt is going to be really magical, and I like to focus on the anomalies. And what I call the anomalies are the things that science cannot explain today. And
And there are
yes,
many of those in many areas
yes.
of our lives. Mm.
Yes. So we might not have the right all the answers, but if we make the right questions, then we start getting there. And what we find in Egypt, and not just in Egypt, but Egypt is such an important place for that. We find all these ancient monuments that contain all these sacred geometries and alignments that reveal such high knowledge, and they hold a legacy for these times. They
Mhm.
are a reminiscence of a golden age of humanity. So I believe, and many people that do research into alternative history believe that human civilization is so much older than the 6,000-year-old
Yeah.
time frame that conventional history and archaeology tries to fit us in,
Mm.
and has as we go back in time and uh, yes, our consciousness expands because we are advancing into a new time, but consciousness evolves forwards and also backwards. So having this direct, being able to witness directly the legacy of a golden age of humanity,
Mm.
it's such a powerful activation and mind opener. Also, I've been finding connections between things I've seen in Egypt and even the megalithic culture in Portugal, and not just in Portugal, also west of France and Scotland and
Mm.
Ireland. I've been finding these connections, and it's so intriguing that not many people speak about. So being able to go to Egypt with the group and focusing on our astrology, because we'll be working with the birth charts of the participants. We're going to be diving into earth and sky alignments and the cosmology of the turning of the ages. And we're going to go to these places that are so old,
Yeah.
and we're going to be able to dive deep into these mysteries and reconnecting to our most ancient roots. Because the more we go back in time, the more we find these common roots for human civilization, and that we are all brothers and sisters and we share a legacy. And yes, and we are at this threshold of a new era that is dawning, and we need to focus on the positive and the constructive and what unites us, so we can all work in cooperation and Gilani and bring back the ancient wisdom of a golden age that where we are heading to. Again, we are leaving the Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, and we're heading into a new golden age. So activating that remembrance in our DNA, it's so important. And by going into these places, it really works as a catalyzer for that to happen. So I'm really honored and grateful to be able to take this group there for the ones that feel the call. And also thank you for all the support in making this information available to all of people that follow the Turning of the Ages Mystery School.
Now that is my fun playground, honestly, my joy and pleasure to do that. I love networking, but I also really listened now with great fascination to what you said, and it would be hard to say it any better, that we are at the threshold of this golden age, and also that there is no doubt about it, right? We don't yet know what it will look like on the planet, and certainly there are things going on that don't look golden at all at the moment, as still the last remnants of the old system are crumbling and falling down, and the power structures that have been in place for such a long time, are still trying to grasp on the last remnants of that, and that's certainly not pretty, and also in many cases doesn't feel good to humanity at all. And then there is people such as ourselves and what we call the seed people, who are here to plant or already cultivate the seeds for this new renaissance, for this, whether we call it new age or we call it the golden age or we call it new earth, whatever. We are here steadfastly holding that vision, and not only from a sense of, I can only speak for myself here, of some kind of imagination, but it's the knowing in my bones. I know it in my bones. I know I've been there. I have a lot of connections with the ancient Atlantis and all. I know that all of that now, in whatever way, whether it's through the Egyptian connections or other connections, there is so much of that knowing coming back now, coming back alive, with the solar activity that's going on, the weakening of the Earth magnetic field or shield, and the ways that this solar activity has a much greater impact now on us than it used to have. We have the same kind of solar flares that we had years ago, but years ago the magnetic field was much stronger, so it didn't impact us in the way. And I certainly am very sensitive to that, and I feel it deeply again in my body and being, what a huge impact that makes. And I am so hopeful, not hopeful, because I don't need to hope. I know I know where we're going, and that it is amazing, and that does not take away the witnessing, and maybe also having to grieve, and having huge compassion with that which still needs to happen in terms of suffering when and as the old structures crumble. Yeah, I'm sure you agree with all of that. But yeah, is there anything else that you would like to share about the Egypt? I mean, to me, it sounds incredible. It absolutely sounds incredible of what you're going to do there. I know the power of stepping into sacred sites and then, consciously invoking the earth-sky connection, because we are the connecting bit. We are the child of heaven and earth, right? And the conduit, whichever way around. Some of us more have the assignment, let's say, from our charts, and we can see it there to bring spirit into matter. And others of us have more the assignment to bring matter into spirit or towards spirit. And I find that fascinating. It was such an important bit that I learned about myself, when that was revealed. It was, oh, that was a real revelation for me, that I'm there to bring spirit into matter, not the other way around. As in, when we hear the word ascension, for instance, it always feels like it's up and out. It's, matter towards spirit. But no, so many of us are really here to embody what it means to be a human on the planet right now at this super precious, pivotal time in human history, and not only human history, this goes beyond our own planet. Yeah, but anything else? Any other juicy morsels about Egypt you would like to share?
Oh, yes, definitely. Well, Egypt is the land of alchemy, and going to be visiting many pyramids and temples. It's going to be a 10-day journey with all included. And I know that TOTAMS has provided the details for anyone who would like to join. And also the fact that it's going to happen in 2025, and the astrology for 2025, it's bringing such a different energy frequency. I mean, we have all the outer planets entering into new signs. Uranus entering Gemini, Pluto is entering Aquarius now, right? And Uranus entering Gemini, and Neptune and Saturn entering Aries. So there's just this major shift in consciousness and entering the first degrees of the new signs, air and fire signs. It feels like big major revelations are coming up for the collective consciousness. And what I feel is the potential is there for a major spiritual awakening for the ones that feel the call to do the inner work. The portal is open in 2025. And yes, there's a lot of suffering and grief going on in the world, and we're going through the birth pains of a new paradigm. So we need to shed the old, we need to look inside ourselves and make the question, how can I become the best version of myself? And to move through all the old pain, blockages, and suffering of the old paradigm, we transmute them inside, we allow ourselves to feel, and we arrive into a new state of being where we become lighter beings. And yes, we're bringing spirit into matter and becoming lighter beings. And there's no better place for that major activation happening with a strong intention than Egypt. I mean, it really is the place of the connection between land and sky. And yes, so being able to be there with the group in February 2025, it really is an honor and a privilege. And I'm deeply grateful for being able to manifest that. It's been a lot of work to put this all together, but it's really so rewarding. And yes, and I send here a prayer for peace, and that humankind can make this transition into this new time in the most peaceful, constructive, co-creative, and cooperative way. And it's time to wake up and step forward, as above, so below, and as within, so without.
And vice versa, as without, so within, right? I mean, that's the incredible thing. It really works in all directions and dimensions of time and space, focused and centralized in our own bodies and beings, and awarenesses at this special time. You know, I before I forget that, I also want to mention that everyone really, I mean, I can only recommend that anyone who feels called, you know, make the connection. Either go to Christina's website straight away, which, as I said, I will definitely link in the description box below, or go to the TOTAMS calendar page. The event is listed there as well. Christina is offering a discount, a special discount for anyone who comes through the Turning of the Ages Mystery School. So if you feel called, just this is the chance. You know, we have this incredible research coming forward more and more and more, that March 2025 is actually the end of the Kali Yuga. So what better way to get you know, to celebrate the end of Kali Yuga than to join a trip like that, which I'm absolutely convinced will be phenomenally wonderful and meaningful, and you know, again, life-changing for everyone who will have the privilege to be on that. And you already, one thing I still want to pick up here from what you said with the Alpha and the Omega sign, and then all the constellations appearing as well, so becoming visible. And then you were going into a little bit, a tiny bit, into the astrology of 2025 with all the outer planets changing signs, and that really, really strong imprint there that is certainly not an ordinary occurrence in any given year, right? It's very rare that this happens all at the same time. And for me, it is almost because there's so much also centering around this 0 Aries degree, right? And that is, in terms of the zodiac, it's the Omega and the Alpha, right? The shift from the last degree of Pisces with Neptune, that is basically really the highest. I mean, Uranus is very high consciousness as well, and Neptune is this mother plasma, mother ocean energy, right? So that also is a rising of the feminine and a rising of this compassionate nature of the oneness of all there is. So for me, this is very important that this is now going out of its comfortable place in Pisces to a place where Neptune is of it, by its own nature not so comfortable, but it's towards action, right? So the Omega, where the whole zodiac ends, and then the Alpha, where a whole different thing is going to start. And I find that absolutely amazing. That, you know,
Yes.
as you say, these things, they have been encoded in symbols and in all kinds of things. And how amazing is it that somehow something becomes visible that was not visible there before. How now? I mean, the ancients certainly knew magic and alchemy more than most of us do nowadays, but all of that, you know, is also coming into a re-emergence. But I find that absolutely fascinating.
It is. It is fascinating. And also, I can share how that information about the Alpha Omega came to me because I was actually looking at the astrology of 2025, and this was
Mm.
last September. And I was seeing, okay, this point between last degree of Pisces and first degree of Aries, which is the point of the vernal equinox, it's the beginning and the end. It's going to be really activated. It's not just Neptune and Saturn crossing that point and connecting with Uranus and Pluto, but it's also the nodal axis shifting from Aries Libra into Virgo Pisces, and also Venus starting a new synodic cycle in Pisces, which has not happened for a really, really long time. That's happening in March. And I was looking into that and I received this message. It's 2025, it's going to be the year of the Alpha Omega. And that information was really,
Mm.
really strong on my head in all my being for the whole day. And that same day in the evening, I was watching a documentary on Eastern Turkey and the latest findings that have been also coming up from there. And that's also another topic that's very interesting. And that's when I came across the work of Robert Edward Grant because
Mhm.
I had never heard him talking before. And suddenly is saying that he had found the Alpha Omega etched on the rim of the sarcophagus inside the Great Pyramid, and that his wife had found the constellations of the zodiac that no one
Mm.
had been able to see before. That same day when I had received that information that 2025 it's going to be the year of the Alpha Omega, the beginning and the end, the coming of the Christ consciousness, the connection between the right and the left hemispheres of the brain, the connection between mind and heart. It's so powerful. So I really feel in all my body, and I'm feeling it now, that there's going to be this major, major lifting of the veil happening in 2025.
Mhm.
And somehow that revelation is coming directly from the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid in the Giza
Mhm.
Plateau from
Yeah.
Egypt. And that place where the Giza Plateau is I mean, the latitude is has the same numbers of the speed of light, which is actually the speed of consciousness. Besides all the sacred measures of the distance between Earth and Moon and Earth and sky and Sun, and the diameter of the Sun and the diameter of the Moon and the diameter of the Earth, they're all
Mm.
encoded in the three great pyramids in the Giza Plateau through proportions between height and the base and the slope of the angles. Everything is encoded there. This is really, really higher knowledge. It's like a time capsule for humanity with all the basics for a prosperous and healthy civilization to thrive. Yes, everything is there, and it's such magic happening in these times. If we can tune in to these frequencies and allow for magic to unfold in our lives, It's the ascension that is happening. It's divine revelation, and it really is bringing spirit into matter. And that's what we are here for in this unfolding process of souls incarnated as humans. We need to
Mhm.
see from that higher perspective.
Yes, I absolutely agree. If we look at everything from that higher perspective, then all the pieces in the puzzle make sense. Otherwise, it's just like random chaos that seems to be appearing. But from that perspective, there is a total inner peace, as in, yes, this is going, as in the celestial world perspective. The universe is unfolding as it should, and there are no accidents. It is so, and there are synchronicities right, left, and center. It is so lovely to see how you are tuned in and turned on by this process, and how it
Yes.
really animates both of us, right in this moment. This is not the energy of just our egos or personalities. It is that energy coming through. I can feel it very strongly.
Yes, we feel alive. We feel alive.
Absolutely.
And more because you were mentioning Atlantis. So the art that is depicted on the walls of the King's Chamber, where all the constellations are depicted, it's a very different has very different visuals from the art from ancient Egypt. It reveals that was really an ancient, different civilization that left those messages there for us to see. And the point that we enter in the chamber is the point between the constellation of Pisces and Aries. So we enter through the Alpha Omega point inside
Mhm.
the King's chamber. It's engraved on the sarcophagus. And it's also the point that the Sphinx is facing, which is exactly due east, which is
Mhm.
the point between 29 Pisces and 0 Aries. And it's the marker for the turning of the ages. And the Sphinx and the pyramids, they're all connected with precise sacred geometries. The whole place was created as a whole. That's not what conventional history and archaeology says, but the evidence is there before our eyes. So again, let's
And
make the right questions and
and
the
luckily,
answers.
in the turning of the ages school, we tend to not be a congregation of ordinary people. We tend to be a congregation of those who ask these questions outside of the conventional paradigms, who are even living their lives in parts outside the conventions of conventional paradigms. So that is one of the beautiful things as well, where, as we all know, even a small group of people with the same intention in heart and mind and soul can make a difference, right? And so we do, each and every one of us. Oh, whoa. I mean, this, I could definitely, and I say that pretty much to everyone, but that's who I am. I could really carry on conversing with you for many hours here and say, oh, I want to know more about this. And I want to, because you know all these facts. Also, you're so knowledgeable about these proportions and all of that. That is all new to me. And so fascinating, how all of that, yeah, carries codes. It carries codes, So the more one understands these relations of the proportions of then the code just reveals itself as literally something did on the sarcophagus. Something became visible, and again, I believe we will see miracles and wonders in the year to come where things become visible that have not been visible, via new revelations. As you said, you were watching something from Turkey, maybe Göbekli Tepe or whatever the place might have been, I suppose. All these things, there's so much. It's like it's already bubbling underneath the surface, and it's just really coming up in this coming year. I'm completely with you on that. So to come to kind of a conclusion here, um, I want to just let our viewers know, definitely keep an eye out on what Cristina is doing there. If you feel called for the Egypt journey, then check that out for sure. Also the new members calls, and just keep her name somewhere in the back of your consciousness, because I am already knowing now that there is more in the pipeline that she'll be offering in her own right and through the school in some kind of collaboration very soon. So it will be my pleasure then to announce that, and through the school, right? And it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be really, really, really great to see and experience and partake in whatever it is that you feel to be partaking in. So partly my final question is always, but you have answered that partly already, Cristina, whether there's anything, in the astrology, in the cosmology right now that you would like to comment on, that you would like to go deeper in. You've already mentioned something about the 2025 astrology and this very, very pivotal Alpha Omega change and all the outer planets. Is there anything else that you would like to add to that, or that kind of really sticks out for you?
Well, Pluto is entering Aquarius this month, and it's the third entrance, but now on a definitive basis for the next coming years, not going back to Capricorn in retrograde motion. So, third entrance, I mean, it's time for rebirth and bringing the local communities together. I believe that's also a key point, because we need to look at our neighbors and see who's next to us and connect our humanity and see what we need from a local perspective. Also attuning to the permaculture principles. I'm a strong supporter of anyone that might feel curious about, but I will just share about the ethics, which is the ethics of permaculture: caring for the earth, caring for the people, and sharing surplus. These are the ethics of permaculture. So strengthening the local communities, because we cannot be relying on hierarchies that are sitting on an office in big cities and they don't know what is going on the land, with land management, water management, learning how to grow food. And but even for the ones that live in the cities, I mean, we can always find ways of having a little pot with some cherry tomato, some herbs, and going out to nature and really supporting each other. I think it's going to be fundamental in the times to come, that the local communities strengthen by just holding hands, people holding hands with each other and attuning to our humanity. That's very important. And then also it will be also this, all the outer planets are entering air and fire signs. So it has to do with communication and inspiration. So attuning to spirit and to higher knowledge and higher wisdom, and again, connecting minds and hearts, and more operating from the heart, shedding behind the old skin and connecting with our essence and being in coherence. We are energetic beings having this vehicle that is our physical body, but the heart is the seat of the soul, is the center of coherence for all our being. And actually receiving astrology reading helps us, or connecting with our astrology really help us to connect with our core essence. So yeah, astrology is such a precious tool, not just astrology, but cosmology, to know where we are in time in terms of human civilization and the great turning of the ages.
Wow, that was a fantastic summary. I wouldn't know what to add to that. Yeah, this is really wonderful. So, is there any other channel that you would like to mention where people can reach out to you? Yes, you have a YouTube channel as well, so people can check that one out. It is called Cristina Moreira Peace Codis as well.
Yes, it's Cristina Moreira Piscodis, my YouTube channel. Yes. I have
Wonderful.
my website,
Yeah.
piscodis.com. And yes, I'm also on Instagram, Facebook.
Okay.
And I've been receiving songs in Portuguese all throughout this year that speak about revelation, the lifting of the veil, and the seed people. I've been receiving these songs. They are in Portuguese, so I mean, I'm like, oh. But yes, I've been receiving from the beginning of this year. So
No, I
yes.
think I need to let people know because it needed a click for me for a moment. I think when you say you've been receiving songs, we need to understand that you're a musician as well.
Yes, yes,
We haven't
I'm a
mentioned
musician.
that yet. You know,
Yeah,
you have so
yeah,
many
and
different hats and have so many different beautiful skills and talents and this wisdom and knowledge that you bring with the experience. It's just absolutely phenomenal. So on top of that, you're also a musician with a beautiful voice. And so we hope to even hear more of you at some point somewhere. Or maybe you're going to sing in the King's Chamber with the people.
oh yeah, definitely. Sound healing is a really big thing, and humming and connecting with the frequency of that perfect sacred geometrical building. Definitely. Yes, and also I'm just starting to put up a trip to Portugal. It will be a very limited places with Lorena Sabugal, who is also a TOTAMS associate, and she's from Spain, and I'm from Portugal. So we're partnering up, and we'll be also hosting a Sacred Journey tour in Portugal last week of March.
Mm.
It's going to be the Venus rising into the overtone of Pisces, and we're going to be in a really magical place. That's also connected with ancient Egypt, but it's in Portugal.
Wow,
So
that is
stay tuned for that as
amazing.
well.
Okay. We will leave it at that now. Thank you so much for coming on here with me, for sharing everything you shared. And I so look forward to, have you kind of closer to the school as you've been for a while. That will be wonderful. And all these magical experiences and adventures that you're putting together and intend to do also within the school. That's just absolutely wonderful. I put out an intention and prayer to join any one of them at some point. Even though my travel schedule is already crammed for 2025. But who knows, things might shift and I might be able to put something into some place. So
Yes.
thank you
Can I
so much.
And I just had a little piece. So one of the things that I'm most deeply grateful, also it's the people that I've been meeting in the school in these last 12 years. Such incredible community. I'm totally in love with all of you and all of us. And I also just wanted to make a reference to Susan the writer. We've been creating these videos that are on my YouTube channel and talking about different topics. So she's also a Totem certified astrologer. And yes, we've met each other a long time ago. And yes, and she's also going to be in Egypt. So
Oh,
yes, so thank you so much, Naraya, for this
amazing. I mean,
time.
there's so much
And
goodness just blossoming out of, I would say out of the school, but it's coming into the school, it's coming into the school. It's coming towards the turning of the ages mystery school, which I now happen to be a part of only for the last like 2.5 years or something. So, but still, I thrive on that really, to see here people feel attracted and then they want to collaborate, they want to do something together, and I absolutely love that. And so I know Susan has something in the pipeline as well, and I look forward to all of these wonderful offerings. So thank you so much for now. Thank you to everyone who is tuning into this at any time. And my prayers for everyone who will have the privilege to join this Egypt journey, or maybe take a reading with Cristina at any time, whatever you feel called, check that out. So thank you and bye for now.